on the species of flora and fauna.
It's Southeast Asia's only tropical spice garden.
Visit Penang 98.7.
TRAXXfm.
Hi, nice to have you with us on TRAXXfm. It is time right now to speak to our guest in the studios today. The Director General of DVS, Dato Dr. Norlizan Mohd Noor, is in the studios over here. Good afternoon to you, Dato. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, Greenman.
And Selamat Hari Raya to you as well.
Yeah, you too, Selamat Hari Raya.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you for inviting me to here.
Well, thank you for being here anyway. And we know it's a busy day for you. You had a lot of meetings to attend to, and yet you came here, and that we appreciate, yeah? So we also take this opportunity to wish our friends from the fire department. Today is Firefighters Day. Oh. So we'll wish on behalf of DVS and we'll wish on behalf of TRAXXfm as well to all our firefighters around the country. Yeah. Thank you, and we appreciate what they do.
Yeah.
And we also appreciate what DVS does. But we'll get to that in a bit from now. Yeah. First, can you tell us a bit about yourself, sir?
Oh.
And how did you get into DVS and what happened? How is it that you became the Director General of the Veterinary Services?
Oh, thank you, Greenman. I've been serving to Department of Veterinary Services for more than 32 years.
Wow.
Started in early 1990 as the veterinary officer.
Right.
And then I've been promoted to another levels and become the head of one section in headquarters.
Okay.
Then transferred to the States.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. First as deputy director, then later on I got experience and developed certain skills in veterinary services. I've been promoted as the state director.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In few states.
So you work yourself up from the ranks all the way.
Yeah, because I am the veterinary officer, and my background is on veterinary medicines. So we are a close department.
Right. And things must have been very different from the way it is today, right?
Yes, very, very much different.
Right? When you first started and what was not available and what is available today.
And yes, with the development of the new technology, IT,
right.
It's very, very great difference than when I just started joining the departments.
Right.
Long time ago.
Today it's so easy, just like that. They can, yeah, right? They can.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, can you tell us more about the Veterinary Services Department and what it does?
Okay, talking about Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia, I think many people do not really understand, what is the function and duties of Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia. Overall, for your information, Mr. DJ, overall we have about 8 functions to perform by our officers in servicing veterinary department. But let's talk about the 4 main important functions and duties of Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia. And being the technical department, of course, and in relation to veterinary medicines, our main duties is to look on animal disease and preserve the animal health status in the country. And we are responsible in controlling, preventing, and eradicating animal diseases in this country. More importantly, it's not only the economic animal diseases or animal diseases of economic importance,
right?
Because it will affect the livestock and the productivity. But on the other hand, this is what many people do not know about this. The animal diseases that have zoonotic importance. For instance, avian flu.
Right.
So avian flu, just like pandemic COVID-19, it will cause a massive problems if we do have, in particular, highly pathogenic avian influenza in this country. So our duty is to control and eradicate the diseases. And Alhamdulillah, so far we have not encountered any outbreak long time ago, and we managed to control the disease. And on the other hand, this is in poultry and in companion animals, rabies, for instance. So we are responsible at ground level, right from beginning. It's our duties to carry out our surveillance program to ensure that there's no rabies virus existing in this country. So otherwise, it will affect other human beings and becomes another zoonotic disease in this country.
Right. Zoonotic meaning it's transmissible.
Yes, transmissible from animals to human beings.
Yeah. And that's why whenever an animal has to be transferred to any place or whatever, you make sure that they have the Department of Veterinary Services, you have that seal, right?
Yes.
On the vehicle that carries them. And they have been checked first before they can actually move around,
yes,
right?
They need to have the so-called complete documents on veterinary certification, for instance, which is we have our officer in ground have perform their duties to ensure that the animal is free from any infectious diseases. Right. Otherwise, we'll transfer the causative agent or the infectious agent from one place to another.
Correct.
It becomes outbreak throughout the country.
Right, and that's why if you want to buy or purchase animals, live animals, also you must make sure it's from a responsible farm or a farm that's been already checked by DVS, right?
Yes, and consult our officer on the ground.
Right, so just
at district level.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know all these things, right? They blindly, somebody will say, I've got 10 kambing for sale, and then you'll just go and buy the kambing, and then all of a sudden you mix that with your other goats.
Yes.
And what happens is you get a bad outbreak and everything.
Yeah, and then everybody will lose,
right,
an economic aspect.
That's where you were talking about the economic aspect of it, right?
That's another, it's the main duties, responsibilities of Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia. The second one is on livestock development.
Okay.
So this is in line with the policy of the government to ensure the food security. And as far as DVS is concerned, we are responsible to make sure food security of livestock products or animal origins such as meat, milk, poultry, chickens, and eggs. This is the four main commodities that focusing by Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia as well as Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industry.
Right. And it's important that DVS make sure that all these things are okay.
We develop the policy. We encourage stakeholder to invest and get involved in this activity, and we provide them incentive. For instance, under 12 Malaysian Plan, we have numbers of incentive. We can talk about this later.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and your job is also to, like, whenever you import or export animals or anything, the halal certification that goes along with that, what role does DVS play in that one?
When we talk about import and export of animal products, our main responsibility on SPS measure, sanitary and phytosanitary measure.
So it's the health of the animals.
Yes, the health status or the health aspect of the animals and products to be imported or for export to other countries.
Right.
And halal will be under purview of another departments.
Right.
JAKIM,
yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, but we do in collaboration with JAKIM to ensure that beside the meat or poultry or whatever products of animal origin to be imported into Malaysia is safe for human consumption. This is the responsibility of veterinary departments. We also, together with JAKIM, to ensure that the product is halal and sourced from approved establishment in the exporting country.
Right. If that's not happening, then a lot of things can go wrong. Yeah.
Yes.
And you were saying, and what else is there, sir? You were saying there was a few more aspects that.
Oh yeah.
The roles.
Just now we talk about animal diseases and disease control program and livestock development.
Yes.
For the economy and food security of the country. The third one is on veterinary public health.
Okay.
So the so-called veterinary public health. This is the roles of veterinary departments that many people do not know about this.
Okay.
You eat meat, you eat beef, you eat poultry and eggs without any bad impacts on your health or infection. So which department makes sure that the meat that you eat, the milk that you drink, the poultry or the eggs that you eat is safe for human consumption? And because of this is a product of animals derived from livestock, so our peoples or officers on the ground carry out their duties to make sure that the animals derived from plant or from farms that practicing a good animal husbandry practice and being slaughtered and processed in a processing plant which is under our supervision, and we have stationed our officer on the ground in situ in the processing plant to do or to carry out their meat inspection services.
Right.
To make sure that the carcasses or the meat that produced to be supplied for human consumption in Malaysia is safe and wholesome.
Right. And even recently, I think there was a case of some outbreak of swine flu. And in that case over there, you made sure that the Department of Veterinary Services made sure that all the ones that were infected was actually buried. So you had all these JCB machines coming in, and that's all under your own cost, is it?
Yes, this is we have, because Malaysia is members to the OIE. OIE is for the National Global Organization for Animal Health. This is equivalent to WHO in human beings.
All right.
We are a member to that. So we have the so-called guidelines or procedures that need to be complied with. In disease control, when we have facing some sort of like risk disease outbreaks, so we have to practice the so-called stamping out policy. The
stamping out
policy.
Okay, I like
stamping out policy.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Represent that we have to cull the animals.
Right.
So we have to destroy the animals before they become a potential transmitter of the viruses. I want to make a correction. This is not a swine flu. The recent outbreak all over the world have this sort of outbreak. In certain European countries, in China, in Vietnam, in Thailand, they do have this outbreak. This is the African swine fever.
Okay.
The swine flu is different. H1N1 is different.
Okay.
And H1N1 swine flu is zoonotic diseases. But African swine fever is swine diseases of economic importance. So before they becomes outbreaks or endemic in this country, we have to control, eradicate. And what is the best practice is stamping out policy. We have to cull the animals. This is what you mentioned about.
Right,
yeah.
and then when you basically bury it, that's making sure that no unscrupulous farmer or anything like that still sells the meat after that, so that no one can do that. Right.
Yeah, the virus can be transmitted not only by the live swine, but the products of the swines.
Right. Okay, carry on. You were saying.
And as I mentioned, that the veterinary health services or the veterinary public health services performed by our officer on the grounds, the meat inspection, the veterinary inspection carried out by our officer on the ground, right in the abattoir and processing plants, is to ensure that the products is safe for human consumption. And the fourth one is on animal welfare. This is in conjunction with the strategic action plan that has been developed by the Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia, the first version from 2000 to 2020, 2000 to 2020, the 10 years, and by which we have successfully developed the so-called Animal Welfare Act and approved, gazetted by Parliament in 2015 and enforced in 2017. So the Animal Welfare Act gives us a provision, source of legal source to promote animal welfare practice with respect to all activities in relation to animals. So we are the custodian of the Animal Welfare Acts, and we develop regulation, procedures, guidelines for peoples to look after the welfare of the animals. And because of this, for your information, Mr. DJ, among other countries in this region, Malaysia can be considered is quite a top ranking in ensuring animal welfare by having the Animal Welfare Act and the programs that we have developed in the National Animal Welfare Strategic Plans 2020 to 2000 to 2010.
Right, and it encompasses all, right? Livestock, animals that you feed.
Encompass all.
And even the pets at home.
Yeah, the companion animals.
Right.
The companion animals.
Okay. Is there more you'd like to add on to that first question over there, or can we move on to the second question?
Yeah.
Tell us about the history behind the Veterinary Services Department. That's interesting.
Actually, the veterinary services in Malaysia started as early as 1896 during British occupation as a division in they call Veterinary Services Division in the Department of Medicines in Ministry of Health.
Oh, wow.
Originally, we are under the Ministry of Health.
Right.
Because we look on animal diseases, control, and preventing animal diseases through the import and export activities during British occupation. On the other hand, we are responsible to look on zoonotic diseases, in particular rabies during that times, to eradicate rabies. This is the reason why we are focusing on veterinary medicines on disease control and eradication during that period of time, and this is why we are under the Ministry of Health. But when over the years progress and expands, we have to look after on livestock development. Then at the end, we are establish the department as a Department of Animal Services, or dulu people call about Jabatan Haiwan. So it's not really nice to hurt Jabatan Haiwan. So we promote or we change,
right.
We upgrade the names, becomes Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia, or Veterinary Departments.
Right.
So recently, and with a huge responsibility and more activities to be performed by Department of Veterinary Services. I mentioned we have 8 functions altogether, and the one that I mentioned that we discussed just now is 50% of the function, 4 out of 8 functions. So it becomes more challenging to our officer, not only at a top level but at the ground level as well.
Correct. And what are some of the common issues that the DVS handles?
Mr. DJ, as I mentioned earlier, there are 3 most common issues, and sometimes it's not to say it become issues in Department of Veterinary Services duties, and that one that we handle. One is on food security. This is a national agenda, food security, and this is a big challenge to us. When talk about food security, there are many sub-commodities under livestock produce. The ruminant production, this is mainly beef and dairy, and poultry production, chickens and eggs. And as far as ruminant production is concerned, we are, even though we understand that we have not got enough supply of beef in this country, for instance, as when talk about self-sufficient level for beef in this country, maybe people talk about this and argue and claim that we are considered failed in developing beef industry in this country. But there are many factors need to be taken into consideration, and the subject matter is beef, but the responsibility is not only under the Department of Veterinary Services. Along the value chains, many others ministry and departments to get involved, even other departments or agencies under the Ministry of Agriculture, on reproduction, on animal feeds, on research and development, and we can only supply currently about 30% of the requirements by a Malaysian as far as beef is concerned. So we still need to import more. But we talk about ruminant production. Beside beef, we are a bit a success on dairy development, for instance. Right now, currently, we can produce 62% of the total requirements of fresh milk in this country.
Right.
And on the other hand is poultry production, chicken and eggs. For our information, by right, suppose we are more than sufficient in supplying chickens and eggs in this country, more than 100% self-sufficient levels. But off and on, many factors contributing. Sometimes we get we have a shortage in the supply for many factors, but overall we have enough supply of poultry in this country. That is first one. And second, as I mentioned, is on disease control and animal welfare as well. So this is three main duties that are most challenging to Department of Veterinary Services and need to be tackled carefully by each category of veterinary officer in this department.
It's a very complicated thing that goes on, yeah?
Yeah.
And how are the farmers doing? Are there enough of, well, definitely there are not enough of, how do you say, cows and farmers?
Yeah.
Or what do you call them? Beef farms?
Yeah, beef farms.
And what's being done about that? And how are people being encouraged to participate?
Okay, we understand that there are many factors or challenging need to be handled by a stakeholder in developing beef industry in this country. For that purpose, in line with National Agro-Food Policy 2.0, Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia, we have our own developed the so-called beef plan. The beef plan, the strategic action plan to develop and strengthen the beef industry in this country. And under 12 Malaysian plan, government has approved and allocate to us certain amount of allocation and to provide incentive to the stakeholder participating and investing in beef industry in this country.
What kind of incentives?
There's a numbers of incentive approved by government to encourage investment and stakeholder to involve in beef production in this country. One of it is to develop or the so-called the under 12 Malaysian plan. Let me mention in Bahasa.
Yes.
The so-called Taman Kekal Pengeluaran Ruminan program.
Okay.
The Taman Kekal Pengeluaran Ruminan is one of the programs, development program, developed by and provided by Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia. We develop the facilities and rent it to stakeholders at affordable rental rates. So we provide the facilities. We provide the forages, develop the forages. What they need to do is to bring in their cattle, and this is mainly on dairy. Currently, we develop facilities for dairy cattle, and they just need to bring in their animals, breed and raise, and all the facilities will be provided for.
Right, and
under this scheme.
And you even give them coaching as to what to do and how to do it, right? There are courses all the time.
Yeah, we provide them training.
Right.
This is another function that I didn't mention earlier. Training to the stakeholder.
Right.
Second, this is on dairy. And the second one is on program pembangunan ruminan. Program pembangunan ruminan or ruminan development program. And we provide the scheme, the incentive to encourage stakeholder to invest and involve in beef production under the oil palm plantation. Oil palm plantation.
That's right.
One of the issues that we face in Malaysia is land tenure.
Okay.
So availability of land for beef farming. So we have carried out certain study, and we found that we have huge acreage of oil palm plantation, and how to make use effectively and to collaborate with the planters by breeding and raising beef cattle on oil palm plantation. So for that purposes, we provide incentive, the ruminant development program, by providing them incentive 50% of the cost incurred to develop will be borne by government.
Right. That's very good already. A lot of people don't realize it, but if you just tuned in, our guest is Dato Dr. Norlizan Mohd Noor, the DG of DVS, Department of Veterinary Services, and we're talking about this oil palm plantation right now, where you can have your animals be inside also.
Yeah.
And it's a win-win situation, Dato, right?
Sure.
Because what happens is the person who runs the palm oil plantation will then get natural rejuvenation of the land with the cows or the goats or whatever it is they put inside there.
Yeah.
And they won't have to use too much of pesticide and all the other things as well.
Yes. Yeah, this is the idea.
Right.
A win-win situation.
Are people grabbing it? Are people taking the...
Yeah, there are numbers of big planters as well as GLC involved in these activities. But our target now is to encourage more planters to be in this activity or industry, to convince them and to encourage them. And this is some sort like, how can they sacrifice either on their own or allow the third party with a systematic integration system. It's not just roaming around. It must be a systematic system. So this is a win-win situation.
Correct. And a lot of plantations that actually have, all these animals going around have seen, nature coming back and all kinds of things going on inside. And that's what a lot of other countries, like some EU countries and all that, have said that we are not doing good with our kelapa sawit and all that.
Yeah.
But when you bring on this idea like this, it actually gives us a more positive look, right?
Yeah.
Right. Lovely. Thank you. Dato, we're going to take a short break. We'll play your favorite song from Kenny Rogers right now. Come back and talk to you again about more. Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to Music Sundays on TRAXXfm. I am the Green Man, we producer KG, and everybody at TRAXXfm, our bosses, producers, and DJs, saying hi. Have a lovely time with us. Something that's been on the mind of a lot of people over here. We are having some of those questions answered for you this afternoon. Our guest in the studios is Dato Dr. Norlizan Mohd Noor, Director General of Veterinary Services. That's a difficult word, Dato. How did you get to...
Veterinary, yeah?
Yeah, veterinary, yeah. There you go. But when you read the spelling, you always get it wrong. But anyway, certain sources, Dato, have claimed that the 70% of its members' poultry's livestock have died from disease, which would cause a limited supply of chickens in the market, and some of the issues concerning chicken. Can you talk about that?
Okay. First of all, I would like to mention here that there should be a correction on that particular statement. The claim that 70% of the birds in the farms died because of a disease is misleading. It's not correct, actually. The real one is only 7%. When I talk about 70%, as I mentioned earlier, if more than 60%, there are two diseases in poultry diseases. One is Newcastle disease. Second one is avian flu. If 70% died, meaning that they are suffering from avian flu infection. And highly pathogenic avian influenza is very dangerous. It's not only to the economy, but zoonotic. So the correct one is 7% of the numbers of birds in the farms died because of diseases. And when talking about the problem that we have right now, the growth of birds in the farms will be affected by many factors. The management, the quality of feeds, and disease infection. And the second one currently that we face in Malaysia, as other states and country, is on hot weather, excessive weather. and it also affect the productivity of chickens, and we reduce the appetite and lowered the feed commercial ratio. And this is another factors that need to be tackled by the authority as well as the stakeholder, the farmers himself.
Right. So biosecurity and all very important.
Very important.
Maybe they should encourage the chickens to eat more ulam and stuff. You never know, right, Dato? And so, yeah, a statement like that. If you talk about 70%, I'm sure we'll be feeling it already. You go to market this morning, you won't get your chicken. You go to your favorite fried chicken place, they won't be able to serve you any chicken. So that can't be right over here, isn't it?
It's only 7% mortality.
Right.
In that particular farms.
Right. Anyway, during the floods, the Department of Veterinary Services was spot on coming out there, and we've had even pictures and photographs of having your team members carrying the animals through the floods on their shoulders and stuff. And a lot of people want to say thank you for that. And can you talk to us more about that, about the role of DVS during all these kind of what do you call that, catastrophes?
Okay, thank you. In the last session of 2021 and early parts of 2020, people talk about catastrophe because of climate change and flood here and there. So it's our main duties to assist farmers, and not only to evacuate the animals, but to provide them what they call it, treatments and for the safe of the animals. This is on livestock. So we do have our team in state and district, together with numbers of non-profit organization, NGO, offer services to assist farmers to evacuate. And beside that, we had a team together with University Putra Malaysia, the faculty vet, provide them special services to look after the health of the animals, and this including companion animals as well. Companion animals. We have our teams go around and assist the animal shelter, and those group of organizations to save the animals to a better place, from the flooded area to a safer area.
That's right. You even offered like health checks for cats and dogs.
Yeah,
and
we have our officer offering medical checkups and treatments, and as well as together with NGO, supplying them animal feed, for instance.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
And you were going around all the flooded areas, while even some of the departments were also covered with flood waters to the roof, and they still had to go out there and do their duties.
Yes. Even though they are also affected,
right,
suffering from the flood, but on the other hand, they have to sacrifice.
Yes.
And this is also, beside to save the animals, this is also related to the well-being and welfare of the animals.
Right.
So as I mentioned that we are the custodian of Animal Welfare Acts, and we encourage people to look after the welfare of animals. So we have to show them that as far as welfare is concerned, there's no limitation on offering and save the animals. And this is what been done by Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia at district and state level as well.
Correct. And to that, we thank the many unsung heroes who were there helping out, yeah? We're going to be starting a new program called Ask a Vet. Would be one of the way, what is the direction of Ask a Vet? And what do you think the outcome of this program will be? Ask a Vet is when we'll be talking to the Department of DVS every Sunday, and we'll be talking to them via telephone for a little bit over there. But what do you think the outcome is going to be?
So we hope that by having this program, as a vet, first of all, we'd like to thank TRAXXfm and RTM for collaborating with us. This is some sort of like, not to say to promote Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia in terms of services and duties that people doesn't know about this, but at the same time to educate people on what does it mean by veterinary services, veterinary services in the country, and all other factors that people need to know about animal health, farming. This is the channel that we would like to take this opportunity to let the people know about our services.
Right. So that's a good thing to have. Yeah, Ask a Vet will be coming on every Sunday. We'll be speaking to a vet, and you'll be able to get your questions across to us over here at TRAXXfm, and we'll ask a vet and have those questions answered for you, yeah? Dato, thank you so much for being here today with us. Is there anything else you'd like to add on before we end this interview?
That's all. On behalf of the Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia, we really thanks RTM and TRAXXfm for giving us this opportunity. And hopefully, by having the consequence Ask a Vet programs, more things and scope of duties of the department will be exposed and make the people know about this.
That's right.
Our duties and responsibilities, so that it will create a harmony environments between Department of Veterinary Services Malaysia and the stakeholder.
That's right. And we know that we can count on you, and they can count on you, and they know where to turn to and what kind of questions they can ask you in the future, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Because there's a lot of things that they don't know of, and right now we're going to try and make that clear for a lot of people. And also like to say hello to friends at Hulu Selangor Department of Veterinary Services over there in Haris, Hazima and Hanif. These are people who helped me recently.
Oh.
I had a problem with a dog, and the dog was poisoned. So I called DVS and I said that, I'm in the jungle and I have no vet that's open at this time. I need some advice. And Hanif, who happened to be there, gave me some advice about getting some charcoal tablets, and then also you giving the dog glucolin and making sure you keep on, So he led me through one by one, step by step, and then the dog survived. The dog lived.
Oh.
And the dog lived, and after that, Dato, the dog's appetite was so good, he ate his best friend, a live chicken. So he ate the chicken, and we knew that he was doing fine. But we'd like to say thank you, and we absolutely are grateful for that.
Thank you for your appreciation as well.
You're most welcome, sir, and thank you for being here at TRAXXfm. We look forward to the next time. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Be inspired, informed, and up to date. Tune in to Trax Momentum interview feature of the day at 11:15 a.m. Join us as we speak to our panel of guests on various topics. Health on Trax on Monday. Tuesday, Spectrum. Wednesday, What Matters? Face to face with our guest on Thursdays. And on Friday, tune in to W Talk. Trax Momentum, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. only on TRAXXfm.